just want to underscore one point, which is about these labels. I mean, if you look at who actually lost in this election, it wasn't the liberals who lost. The Progressive Caucus was reelected by a rate of 95%. The people who bore the brunt of the electoral bloodbath were the Blue Dogs. 50% of the Blue Dogs. No, you were on television all night pointing to people like Russ Feingold.
Where do the liberals live?
Right. Well, you were on
Where do they live?
Well, for Alan Grayson lives in a district that has been Republican, for decades, and you pointed to his loss as proof that liberalism fails. Why weren't you on television pointing to the loss of the Blue Dogs as proof that conservative Democrats cannot get reelected when 50% of the Blue Dog caucus disappeared overnight? Why were you pointing to the handful of liberals who lost as proof that liberalism failed? That seems like a pretty big fallacy.
Your crack staff hands out stuff that people have written before they come on the show. I'm reading this stuff that Glenn says about how he couldn't stand watching me election night.
You.
No, just me.
Not just you. You were just one example of many people.
It's the only example we have here.
Okay. So
and what's lovely about it is there's not a single quotation mark around a single word that you say I said, and I didn't say a single thing.
Right. You didn't blame the left for Blanche Lincoln's loss because they mounted a primary count. You didn't point to Russ Feingold's loss as proof that liberalism got rejected when weighed between liberalism and conservatism.
I asked questions, Glenn. I did not say every single thing you accuse me of saying. I did not say.
Well, fortunately, there's a transcript. We can resolve it once we have the transcript.
Glenn, unlike you, I am not a progressive. I am not a liberal who's so afraid of the word that I had to change my name to progressive.
I'm not either.
Liberals amuse me. I am a socialist. I live to the extreme left, the extreme left of you mere liberals, okay? However, I know this about my country. Liberals are 20% of the electorate. Conservatives are 41% of the electorate, okay? So I don't pretend that my views, which would ban all guns in America, make Medicare available to all in America, have any chance of happening in the federal government, okay? You can sit there and pretend that liberals should run more liberal in conservative districts. The reason you love the loss of the Blue Dogs.
Hold on a second. Chris,
it disproves your point.
Chris, you can't go to break.
We are at 9:02.
The only way you have a Chairman Barney Frank, there's only one way. That's by electing Blue Dogs. It's the only way you have a speaker.
That is absurd, and you see the fact that
it's absurd. The Blue Dogs lost. There's no more Democratic chairman, and there's no Democratic speaker.
Had 20 Blue Dogs lost, the Democrats would still have a majority. You could have easily had in 2006 and 2008, when there was a wave election in favor of the Democratic Party, true progressives who would have supported an agenda that would have decreased unemployment by relying on Blue Dog dominance in the Democratic Party. That's how the agenda that would have reduced unemployment and brought better legislation got impeded. That was your strategy. And look at the outcome of your strategy.
Hold on one second, guys. We are 12 minutes over. What we're going to do is go to break. We're going to ask Glenn to stay after 9. We're going to record some more.
No, we're not. I got to go to the airport.
Okay. Be back with a weekend review.
For every single position that I hold, that he then ignored because the polling data on substantive issues is too interesting and too substantive for this kind of analysis. You want to look at cartoon bumper sticker views of politics. Who's a liberal? Who's conservative? That's cable news cartoonism. I'm looking at specific policy outcomes.
It's what the voters say about themselves.
What people care about as having jobs and economic prosperity
is liberal.
These labels are so irrelevant. They're so completely empty. That's why you want to stick to this analysis. Look at the specific questions about policy issues.
So you won't answer that question.
I'll be happy to say that 20% of the citizenry self-identify as liberal. I'm questioning the importance of that. I'm questioning the importance of that. I don't think that providing competition for the private health insurance industry is liberal. I don't think that restraining Wall Street from stealing from the American middle class is liberal.
Glenn, let's get specific. Name one thing the president should have done his first 2 years that would have ensured Democrats had a better day on Tuesday. What is the one big policy idea that he
should have done a lot more about the unemployment unemployment crisis and the foreclosure crisis specifically. He had billions of dollars in a HAMP program that basically sat stagnant while people got ejected from their homes. There was no effort to keep them in their homes, keep neighborhoods from losing huge numbers of homeowners while prices plummeted and while neighborhoods degraded.
Lawrence, should have been more aggressive in the housing crisis?
Yeah, I don't think there's much more he could have done. I mean, I'm not, you know, the legislature was not going to grant him those powers.
No, they had billions of dollars that sat there unused. They used a tiny sliver.
Glenn, why did Russ Feingold lose?
Because
that's still a shock.
Because, I mean, Russ Feingold is, you know, one of my favorite politicians,
right.
And the thing about it is he was not by any means a standard issue liberal. He was one of the most independent, nonpartisan members of Congress.
Which shocked me that he lost. Why did he lose?
Because the Democratic Party is extremely discredited in the United States right now because they're in power while people are suffering.
And he's a Democrat. And this is what I said on the network the other night that bothered you so much. Do you think it had anything to do with anything Russ Feingold has said or done, or anything his opponent had said or done?
No, I think the reason why
it had nothing to do with that.
The main, I mean,
that's right. It had nothing to do with what the candidate said or did.
You want to reduce everything to these simplistic explanations because that's what you do for a living. I think that Wisconsin who hate the Democratic Party because they're not succeeding in keeping people prosperous, and that's why he lost.
Had nothing to do with anything the candidate said or did.
Yeah, right here.
Did some of his views influence some voters?
We learned a lot. Have a great weekend. This continues all weekend. Now the Daily Rundown.
All right.